What's going on, everybody? I'm just going to wait for a few minutes so a few more people can get in, and then we will get started. I'm doing great, Joe Johnson. How are y'all doing? Make sure y'all hit that like button when y'all come into the room, into the chat. I'm gonna just go ahead and get started right now, and then everyone else can just filter on in as the conversation goes forward. Now, I know y'all are saying, why am I starting so early today? Usually I start at like 1 or 2 o'clock. I actually have to work an evening event at my job, so that's why I'm starting at the time that I am. And this stream is going to be kind of shorter than the ones I'm usually doing. Usually I don't put a time limit on my streams, but I have this stream to start at 12 o'clock, which it already has, and it's going to cut off at 2 o'clock. And I usually don't do that, but today, probably most of the month of December, because I always do my live streams on Sundays of December. That's how it's going to be, because it's very busy at my job, and some events I have to work on a Sunday, and some of them are in the evening. So that's how it's going to be for most of the month of December. Maybe not the whole month, but a majority of the month. So if I start them at 12 o'clock and they end at 2, then that's why. And then I also want to get like a little rest in between before going in. So that's why I cut them short. Second, I would like to thank all of my subscribers and all of my supporters, because in the matter of a week, or a little over a week, I was able to hit 2,000 subscribers. Started at 0 and hit 2,000 in about a week. So I'm very, very appreciative of that. If you don't hear the sound, try refreshing your page so it can come back up. Yeah, Sun is hot ride. Yeah, it is crazy. But I don't work in like retail or anything like that. It's just that there's a lot of events going on at my job. Like I work at a like an arena. So it's a lot of stuff like going on that they cram into 1 month before the year is out. But yeah, I'm very appreciative of the people that helped me get my subscribers back up there. We're still slowly but surely climbing back up there. It's probably gonna take a while to get back to where I used to be at. You know, losing a channel where you had 15,000, almost 16,000 subscribers, that's no fun. And then I climbed back up there. Started to climb back up on my channel that got terminated a couple weeks ago when I was about to be at 4,000. So, you know, stuff happens. But I'm glad that I'm still here. I'm glad that y'all are still here, and we just gonna keep the ball rolling. Also, as y'all already know, I created a Patreon account last week, I believe it was. And I believe now I have maybe 11 or 12 Patreons. So shout out to them, those who have subscribed to my Patreon account. Anna A, yes, the Patreon donations do help. As you already know, a lot of stuff has been going on this week. It's probably some stuff going on this week that I didn't even hear about. Some of the stuff y'all probably haven't heard about. But we're just going to talk about a few things as usual, as we do every single week. It seems like every single week since 45 has been in office, like the craziest stuff has just happened. But to be honest, we live in the establishment. So even if he wasn't in office, I'm very sure these same things are probably might surely, but sure still be happening. But the biggest story that I think a lot of people or should have been talking about this week was definitely the case of Cyntoia Brown. As you already know, I did a commentary about it earlier this week, and how I told Nicole on Nicole's view on her live stream last night, I literally had to collect myself after finding out, about her. What's up, Black Reality TV? And like I said, how I found out about it was on an Instagram story. Those of you who are on Instagram stories is basically Instagram's version of Snapchat. And I was just scrolling through and I was like, I need to look up this story, and bring it to my subscribers because I'm not sure if they know about it or not. So now, mind you, it was 5 something in the morning when I learned about this story. And I go online, I'm wiping the crust out of my eyes, and I'm listening to it. And I'm telling you, like, my blood started to boil. Like, I literally wanted to snap at what happened to this young lady. And if y'all don't know what happened, basically, Cyntoia Brown, back in 2004, when she was 16 years old, she was basically given off to this guy who she was basically a sex slave, or a quote unquote, they say that she was a child prostitute, and she killed him. She shot him, and this happened in the state of Tennessee, and she was basically sitting in a cell for many years. And in 2011, they sentenced her to life in prison with the eligibility of parole at the age of 67. And mind you, she's only like 30 now. So she still has like a few more years to go. And now a lot of people are trying to find a way to get her out. Stan Craig, you said, did she kill a Caucasoid? Yes, it was a white guy that she killed. But the interesting about it is her pimp was black. I actually just saw for the first time in passing, they actually had her, like, a little story about her on, I think it was on MSNBC, I think it was. And that's the only time I really seen mainstream media talk about it. And it's crazy because it happened back in 2004. And when I first heard the story, I'm thinking it's something that happened this year. And only to find out that it happened years ago, it was like, this one flew really way under the radar because I never heard about it. And a story like that, you would think they would talk about, but they did. Even back in 2011, when she was sentenced, that story didn't pop up anywhere either. And then, of course, I had the trolls coming into my comment section talking about, well, she did shoot him in the back of the head. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? The girl was literally fighting for her life. But see, if I bet if she was a white girl, they wouldn't have said that. Or if it was a black guy that she killed, they wouldn't have said that either. They make all these excuses, but it doesn't surprise me because these are the same people that will make excuses for a lot of these pedophiles and child molesters that are out here right now. And she had a really rough life. Like when I heard about her, like her home life, like her mom, they said her mother, she was a a savage, raging alcoholic. Like they said that when she was like when her mother was pregnant with her, she would always be drinking, and they was fearing that Cyntoia Brown wouldn't, function well in life because of that. And that the dad, so we don't know what's up with him. As far as we know, that man could probably be dead somewhere. So it's like she was screwed from the start. So technically, she really didn't have a quote unquote normal upbringing. I think that's what makes the story even more sad. She really never had a chance at a normal life. Like she's constantly been passed around and tossed around to various places. In the last place that she ends up right now, where she doesn't move around anymore, she can't really have her freedom. So she was never a free person. What's going on, True Royal and Texas War? I mean, could you imagine living your life like that? Like any person in her position would probably want to commit suicide, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they did, but I'm glad that she's still here and she's able to still fight and still tell her story. But I hope that she's able to get all the help that she needs. And I'm glad that I was reading where it says she graduated from college and she's working. Unfortunately, because she is in prison, she really can't get compensated for the work that she does. So it's almost like volunteer work. She's like almost like an unpaid internship. Noah, Muna, you said you made tweet to your followers. You mean as far as sharing that the stream is going on? If that's what you mean, then sure, go ahead. I welcome more viewers. LT, you're correct. You could tell that she probably suffered from some kind of mental health issues. But like I said, her mother was an alcoholic and was drinking while she was pregnant with her, and then all the other stuff that she went through in her life after the fact. Like I said, she never had a quote unquote normal life. Like she had one of the worst lives ever. And I'm saying had like she's still not here. She has one of the worst lives ever. But yeah, when I that story right there literally almost messed up my day, and my day was just beginning. But I hope that going forward that she's able to function slightly. I mean, she's never going to be able to live this one down. And the thing is, if she gets out of jail, you're going to have to worry about the caucus thing saying, "Oh, she's a killer" and things of that nature. The usual spill. But before I go any further with some of the other topics, I have to say R.I.P. to Della, Reese, and Earle Hyman. Like they literally died. Was it a couple days apart, or is it a day apart? Like we're losing our legends, legendary actors right there. And of course, Della Reese was also a singer. And I grew up watching both of them on TV. Well, more so with Earle Hyman on the Cosby Show, because I wasn't born when Thundercats was on, and Della Reese, well, she was around way before my time. But I remember her seeing her in other various forms of media, like that show Touched by an Angel and A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, of course, Harlem Nights, and other different shows. So I remember seeing that episode where she was on with Sanford and Son on TV One. Two phenomenal actors, and gone, but they lived long lives. They lived, they left a legacy. They're both legends. It's not like they died very young. I mean, I think they said Earle Hyman was 91 and Della Reese was 86. I think it's just the thing when you lose all of the people or like you people that you grew up watching or admiring and you lose them. It's like, wow, a piece of you is now gone with them. But it is really crazy when they all start dying, like literally days or within each other. Like it's like we just lost one person and we're trying to mourn. Now we are losing another one. Spirit of Justice that Earle Hyman was Phyllis Hyman's cousin. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. They both had the last name Hyman, and hers was another tragic death too. Phyllis Hyman, I remember, I was very young when she committed suicide. And I remember that last song that she came out with, I think it was called, "I Refuse to Be Lonely." That was a hit song for her, and it's crazy because she died, I think, soon after that song came out. And that was almost like a telltale sign right there that she was going through some stuff. I think she had lost some family members, and she just said she couldn't go on anymore. She committed suicide. Now that was another talented woman, beautiful woman right there. You said Della Reese was on the Royal Family with Red Fox and Lorenz Tate. So, yeah, I heard about that show, but I didn't get a chance to watch it because it got canceled like real fast. Like I don't even know if it lasted one season with that particular show, and I think that was the last thing Red Fox had did before he died. Okay, Stan crazy. Yes, so you said they had to cancel because Red Fox died. Okay, but now that makes sense. I remember it was an interview that I saw Phyllis Hyman do back in the '80s, and she was talking about the industry and basically how wicked some of them people were. So she was calling out the industry even back then. Oh, you said after Red Fox died, they had replaced him with Jack A. Harry from 227. Okay. Okay, I want to move on from that and talk about something that disappointed me, but it didn't surprise me, especially when I called it out la- last month. And that is about that chick, Tiffany Jolene. Where to begin with this one? I mean, I already talked about it, but where to go with it as far as this live stream is going? Thank you, Son is Hot Rod, for the 10 pounds. Oh, and by the way, as you can tell, the super chat on my on this channel has been enabled. I enabled it yesterday. Fine, after having to go through a lot just to get it cut on. But yeah, that Tiffany Jolene chick, yeah, she pretty much got exposed. I mean, well, I kind of knew back then that something was off about that whole posting anyway. But she got exposed, and it turns out that entire post that she made was that of a black woman whose words she stole, switched some things around, and then tried to pass it off as her own. And then all I could think about was, I told you so. When I did that video last month on my old channel, I had said something about this seems off. I had people say that it sounds like a black woman wrote it. And indeed, it was a black woman who wrote. Now, that post went viral and it ended up on the New York Post, and she got a book deal out of it. So to the black women that cheered her on and wanted to invite her to the cookout and this, that, and the third, you have no one else to blame but yourself. Shout out to Cass for the donation. He said, I snatched the disgusting blonde weave off Tiffany and her self-hating cronies. Hey, if there's BS to be called out, I'm going to call it out. I don't care who you are. And see, y'all can't, and see, people can't say, "Oh, Torian is bashing black women and this, that." No, you can't say that, because if this was a black man that did this, or if it was a white guy that did this, and it flipped out and it turned like this on them, I would have said the same thing that I said to the black woman that was coming up and supporting her. And what's so sad is that all it took was for this disgusting looking white woman, because she looks out makeup or Instagram filters or Snapchat filters. They do wonders for people. It wasn't so much the words, it's the fact of who the words came from. So because it came from a white woman, a lot of them championed and rallied behind her. It says, see, even white women said this. I said, if y'all did your investigative work like I did, you would have asked her the DMs that was sent to you, so we can have proof that what you're saying is true. Y'all didn't even care that the woman had a black husband, even though in those comments, and I showed it in my video, that she had a black husband. They didn't care. That was probably one of the most least liked comments on the entire post. And I still have the video that I managed to save. There's no point in me uploading it now. But that video that I had that was on my old channel, it shows the post that was made and the comment where it shows her, where she mentioned how she played black women, in a picture with who I'm supposing is either her black husband or a ex-black boyfriend. Now, to the women that supported her, let this be a learning lesson for you. because you expose yourselves, you left yourselves wide open for attack by a lot of people. Now you cannot run back and say, "Oh, I need so and so to protect me." That's not going to happen. But to the black women, like the ones in my who are subscribed to me, who saw through that crap, I thank you for putting on your thinking caps and thinking logically and not emotionally. Because a lot of them were thinking emotionally and not logically, which is why they all look stupid right now. If could you imagine, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson is probably looking down right now and just shaking her head at this foolishness. I didn't see the live stream. I did hear that she did a live and you said she had the nerve to be crying. Of course she was crying, but those tears weren't real. They weren't genuine. I'm sure she's gonna wipe those tears with the money she's gonna receive from this book deal. She gonna be all right. But yeah, China Fox, one of the only black women, and maybe a couple of others who did, who actually called her BS after she was exposed. And notice that some of the women that probably made commentaries agreeing with her did not say that they were wrong. I think that's what makes it even worse, because you couldn't admit that you were wrong about your assessment when it came to this chick. But that's not good, because that showed right there that the black women that themselves to rally behind her and what she said, not only were they not on code, but they probably don't even know what it means to be on code. Now I wonder if the women that was agreeing with her, I wonder, do they even have a boyfriend, a husband, a fiance that is black? And if they do, what would he think about his significant other, his girlfriend, his fiance, his wife, agreeing with a white chick saying what she said? Because for all we know, she could have been talking about him. He could have been the dusty Negro, or the one with the dirty not finger lines, fingernails, or the one with the messed up hairline, or you know what she said in that post. But if they do, I bet they didn't tell them that. Shows you what kind of woman he's laid up with. Good question. What would Dr. Khalid Muhammad say about this? That's why I kind of wish he was still here to see what foolishness has been going on in the black community since his death, because I know he passed back in 2000. Here we are in 2017. I could imagine what he would be saying at a lot of meetings. Like I said, all I can say is that black women just learn from this and don't fall for that crap ever again. This can go for black people as a whole. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. I just knew it was something. It was almost like a sixth sense just went off and just told me that something about this just does not seem right at all. I need to do some more thorough investigation. Glad that I did, and I'm glad that all of this came out. That way, I can be a little bit petty and say I was right, because I had some people coming in my comment section under that video talking about, oh, I was wrong. Oh, she's right, and you're that type of guy. And this type. See, when you leave comments like that, it only lets me sit back, evaluate the situation, and wait for everything else to come out. And then when it does, I can be extra petty toward you. It's a wonderful thing. That should be the American way. I just love when I'm proven right. I mean, that may be like an ego stroke or an ego boost, but if it is, it is. Okay, I'm done talking about her. Let's talk about this whole Lavar Ball Trump situation here. My goodness, this is like a never-ending saga in itself. So as we all know, LiAngelo Ball and the two other UCLA players they've been back from China, and they're not, nothing is happening with them and whatnot. They did the press conference. They said, thank you, Trump, this, then, third. Everyone said thank you, Trump, except for LaVar Ball. LaVar Ball said he's not thanking Trump for, for 145 as a president. That's what he should have done. That's like saying, I'm thanking you as a parent every single day for you being a good parent. You're supposed to be. It's practically in the job. It's pretty much in the description. It's like the fine print. Anyway, they made a big deal out of this whole thing. Like, they blew it up further than it should have been. And then 45 are going to come back and say on Twitter, see, this is exactly why I said the 280 character limit is good, but I knew that 45 would abuse it. And that's exactly what he's doing, because he's leaving these long narratives and all types of stuff right there. And basically saying, well, if this is basically how you feel, then I should have just left your kids in China. And then you would have had to go back to China for 3 or 10 years just to go see your son for Thanksgiving. If that's not the most petty, childish shit that anybody could say to somebody else. And see, yeah, and like y'all said in the comments, LaVar Ball, whether you don't feel some type of way about him or not, he is exhibiting what an alpha black male is. And that is a threat to the establishment. If every black man exhibited that alpha black male like he is, and just says, I'm not going to like stand by and just like tell you or beg or not get on my knees and beg, which is basically what 45 wants him to do, then it is crazy. It's crazy. However, things did look up for 45. Not 45, LaVar Ball. Because of this feud that's going on, LaVar Ball and his Big Baller Brand business actually pocketed like $13.2 million from this. It's like a little bit after it happened. And I think I saw somebody say something about Ryan Lochte in there. Yes. It's funny how when things happened with LiAngelo Ball and the two other players for UCLA, how they were literally coming down, like dropping the gauntlet on them and telling them that what they did was bad and they should stay over there and, serve their time. But you have Ryan Lochte and those other Olympic swimmers, who all three of them were white, by the way, in Rio last year for the Olympics, got into it with some locals down there at a gas station, lied, and then tried to cover it up. And then Ryan Lochte fled back to the States when he wasn't supposed to. He came back, they dropped the charges, and then he ends up on Dancing with the Stars like a month and a half later. you don't even hear about that incident ever again. Some people probably claim that they forgot about it. They ain't forget. And then 45 supporters mixing up LeVar Burton with LeVar Ball. But they're supposed to be so superior in the mind and supreme and all this stuff, but they're not. Not. Like, that was so funny to me. First off, LeVar Burton hosted the long-running show Reading Rainbow. And clearly they didn't read the names on Twitter to know that LeVar Ball and LeVar Burton are two different men. What they have in common is that both of their names are LeVar. The first and last initials are L and B, and that they're both black. That's pretty much the only similarities and comparisons that they have. Everything else is a contrast. Exactly true, Roy. That was that so-called high IQ. Yes, I remember when they called Ryan Lochte a boy, and he's in his 30s. That was laughable. I said, did I hear that correctly? Did they really just call him a kid? No, did they really just call them kids? Because all of them were over the age of 18. All of them were over the age of 21. It's just that Ryan Lochte was the only one in his 30s. Sonny Higgum, you said your question is, who are the other two college players who went over to China, and why do they keep highlighting LiAngelo Ball? Well, the other two, they were black. I don't know their names, and the reason why they keep highlighting LiAngelo Ball is because of his dad. As far as they're concerned, the other two black boys were just them, just the black boys that were there. Almost like, you know how you have a music group when you have the lead singer and then the other two are just there. You're right, Kaz. Al Roker wasn't dealing with it. Like, that was the one time when Al Roker made me see him in a different light. Yeah, but like I said, the whole thing, that whole LeVar Ball, LeVar Burton thing was funny to me. All I could do was just laugh. I said I had to bring this story to y'all so y'all could laugh too. I said I couldn't withhold all the laughter. Exactly. Brand like Michael Jackson to the Jackson 5. Yep. Okay, Tex Ward just gave you the other two names of the other two boys. The name was Jalen Hill and Cody Riley. And see, the thing is, what 45 really hates is that LeVar Ball is pulling a Trump on Trump. Trump doesn't like when people question his authority or claps back at him. He loves people who like bow down to him. And LeVar Ball is not doing that. What Angela Rye had to say, she said, "We ain't saying massa over here. Or we ain't thinking massa over here." I think that's what she said. You said, did they actually steal the LV glasses? I think they did. They have them on camera. I think they did. I have a question for the people in the chat. What makes a coon a coon? Is it who they lay down with, or is it because of their actions? Well, the world has problem with white Americans, Texas. Well, look at what happened with Otto Warmbier in North Korea, in that white chick out in Zimbabwe, who might actually get a slip, like who might get a pass because Robert Mugabe is not the president anymore. Okay, is the reason why I asked that because what happened with the whole Shannon Sharp situation that just occurred, and uh, how in a way Cynthia G had put out that tweet, and then it got back to him, and then he put her on blast about it. So that's why I was asking what makes a coon. Is it who they lay down with, or is it their actions? And I'm hearing like mixed takes on it. That's what I saw. Gemini 605. It said that Shannon Sharp is now connected, but you never know. Is now connected to Nicole Murphy, which is Eddie Murphy's ex-wife. What's going on, Golden Black? Okay, I have a question. Another question. Have you ever heard Shannon Sharp talk bad about black people? And if you have, can you send me a link to where he has said something ill about the black community? Oh yeah, this is like I said, this is a growing thing because I did hear Corey Holcomb got involved with this as well. So it might be there for a while. I won't be surprised if Charlemagne jump up in this thing too, because you know Charlemagne lives for drama. I don't know what Corey Holcomb actually said, because I don't know what he said. Can somebody let me know in the chat what he said? Because I don't know what he said. And you want to know what's real interesting? Y'all probably aren't gonna believe this, but Corey Holcomb actually follows me on Twitter. I was actually shocked to see that. I like maybe a month and a half ago. I just happened to go through who my new followers were, and I scrolled up, and sure enough, under followers, his name popped up. Don't worry, y'all haven't gone anywhere. I'm just looking up some things. Okay, I have another question for y'all. Do you think that word coon has lost its, how can I say, meaning, its definition? Do you think that it's now tossed out very loosely to the point where no one really knows the true definition of it anymore? Because a lot of people are saying that now the word coon is now being thrown out there as a conversation ender, or to try to get people to stop talking. Also, I mean, I'll give you an example. Like when someone had said in the chat when Corey Holcomb was saying what he was saying, and then they tried to say that he was gay and things like that. You know, almost like an emotional conversation ender. Just like you have white people out there saying reverse racist. We know that stuff ain't real. Right, Cassie said, I asked 5 different people what that word means. I'll get about 50 different answers. Because if I had to give you a prime example of a coon or a buck dancer, look no further than David Clark. That right there, and notice I call it that, is a perfect example of a buck dancing, tap dancing, Arby hat, Woody from Toy Story hat wearing coon, because of what he's done. And kisses 45's butt so much his lips might as well be surgically implanted there, just so he doesn't miss a servant of the shit that comes out of his ass. What's up, Melanation? I and True Royal Family especially have done so many videos about that man. None of them are ever good, except for when he didn't get into the White House, but he still be on Twitter if you on Twitter, and he's still always kissing 45's butt on pretty much everything. He feels that 45 is never wrong. You said there's levels to cooning. Well, he has reached the highest level. I don't think he can break through the ceiling, but I think he's at the highest level. He probably has broken through the ceiling. Didn't he get Coon of the Year last year? If you want an example of a female coon, look no further than Sage Steele, because she is a woman that said that it was mostly black people that treated her wrong. It's almost like everything that bad happened in her life, it was a black person's fault. I can't stand Paris Denard. He looks like a nerd. He looks like a dweeb. Yeah, but Sage still feels that anything that happens negative in her life is because a black person did it to her. I've done many videos about that. When she wrote that pathetic letter to her mother or something like that, or I forgot who she wrote it to, but she barely mentioned her dad. But she praised so much her mother. Of course, her mother is white, her dad is black, but she barely mentioned her dad. 1 or 2 sentences, and then wrote this whole paragraph just dedicated to her mother. That lets you know right there who she gravitates towards more. And then married a white guy who doesn't have a job and hasn't had one since 1999, and then have the nerve to say that, in so many words, black people ain't shit. And my nickname for Sage Steele is Mammy Steele. Oh yeah, Diamond and Silk are perfect examples of the tap dancing Kunet duo. Exactly. Sage still couldn't even pass, but she swear up and down that she. Never mind. I'm not even gonna go. I'm not even gonna go there. Yeah, her husband, Sage Steele's husband, has not been employed for a very long time. He's literally biting off of her checks. I have seen Joy Villa. She was the chick that I think it was early this year where she had this I think she had wore that Trump dress at the Grammys or something like that, and she got like a whole bunch of like out like I guess support, if you want to call it that. Maybe that's what Chrisette Michele should have did at the inauguration. Maybe she should have wore a Trump dress. You don't even hear about Omarosa no more. I can remember the last time I saw her be interviewed. Yeah, Michael Vick lost me when he made those comments about Colin Kaepernick a couple months ago and said, you know, Fox Sports One had wanted to offer him a job, and then that petition had went out saying, "Oh, we don't want him here because he's a dog killer." I tell you, them caucus thing, they don't forget when it comes to their pets. Now they can go around and screw and have bestiality sex with their pets all they want, but don't you ever, as a black person, hair on their pets or it's curtains for you. And speaking of capping his fro, how many people were able to get the GQ? How many people have actually seen it? Because I know some places they some people couldn't find them. I don't know if they didn't put out enough issues or maybe they sold out. I haven't seen any yet. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can go find some this week at my job. Z interpret impression of Ray Lewis is spot on. I crack up every single time he imitates that man. Exactly. His wife checked the hell out of she said you will be sleeping on the royal couch until you get your act together. But I did save this one particular topic for the live stream because I didn't want to make a video about it because I wanted to get in real time your take on this. Emily Linden. How many people are familiar with that name? If y'all don't know who Emily Linden is, she is some kind of contributor to Teen Vogue magazine, and she put out these series of tweets. I think sometime this past week, basically saying in so many words that she does not care if a man is falsely accused of rape and it ruins his reputation. And yes, she is a white woman. Her name is Emily Linden. She was she put out those tweets and basically said that if a man's reputation becomes ruined because of false rape allegations, she doesn't care if that happens. She just let the cat out of the bag of how a lot of these feminine nut cases really are when it comes to situations like this. Someone said they ran her off Twitter. They should have ran her off this earth. I'm very sure she got a lot of backlash for what she said. She's basically okaying that women can go out here and lie about being raped and say that this so-and-so man did it, and that she's okay with their reputation being ruined behind a lie. She just basically let the cat out of the bag about how a lot of white women get down when it comes to rape. And not only did she do that, but if indeed a lot of these women who are not lying about rape actually got raped, she's actually made it even harder for them to even get their case to be proven. It's become to a point where now rape has now become such of a trend that a lot of people aren't believing them anymore, especially with all the stuff that's going on out in Hollywood. And yes, she is very dangerous. And I'm very sure there are other women out there like her, but she's like the only one that came forward with how she felt on a public forum. Oh, Lena Dunham. I can't stand her or that back alley basement tattoo she got on her arm. Have y'all ever seen that? That thing looks disgusting. It looks like a kid did it. I still try to figure out how in the world that chick got a career after she wrote in her book that she fingered her sister. I'm still trying to figure that out. Well, that is true. To someone who said they created NAMBLA. And yes, NAMBLA is an actual organization. I remember a couple weeks ago, I actually said, let me go see what's on here. Clicked it and was off in about 1.5. The filth that ran rampant on that. Thing that's coming out of Hollywood right now surprises me in the least bit. I'm just glad that all of the stuff is finally spilling out and there's no more speculation. Could you imagine if we had social media back in the 90s, all the stuff we would have heard and saw? Yeah, Black Ranger NAMBLA does have a website. Brandon, you said, did I hear about Sylvester Stallone? No, what happened with Sylvester Stallone? And something already tells me it's going to be some BS. Oh, okay. I see it now. I just Googled it. It says Sylvester Stallone accused of 1986 sexual assault. And he's denying it. It's blaming animals for murder. Now, if they left them animals alone, then reason to mess with them. Do y'all remember on my old channel I did that video where these two white girls was in a pickup truck running away from this giraffe? How do you piss off a gentle animal such as a giraffe? I don't get it. Yes, I did. I saw that Thought Crimes had did a live stream Q Congress when you said, did I hear about what Denzel said about the legal system in a recent interview? Um, I did see that. I have to kind of disagree with Denzel on that one. Basically, for people who don't know what Denzel said, he was asked about mass incarceration, and he been asking how he felt about it. And it says that he doesn't that the prison system was not to blame for mass incarceration, and he said it basically starts at home with how you raise your kids. He says dog shot and killed his wife. What? That sounds like some kind of excuse they will come up with. Okay. He must have been on some kind of opioid to come up with a story like that. I heard a Water Snap. I heard about that in Nicole's live stream yesterday because I was on there last night. Um, the Black Wall Street, right? And see Denzel with his stock that he has to be very extra careful about saying those type of things to these white ran because of how popular he is, he has to be extra careful with certain responses. Don't give them what they want. Make them sweat. That's how I see it. And Water Sniper, I'm about to email you right now so you can send me the uh, article. Well, you do have like a slight point because when I was looking at the article and I'm like skimming through it, he said, I'm trying to find this quote. He said, it starts with how you raise your children. If a young man doesn't have a father figure, he'll go and find a father figure. It's unfortunate that we make such easy work for them. And also, it says decorated actor and director Denzel Washington believes that a strong family structure is the cure for America's mass incarceration. Yeah, it's not just it is way more than what Denzel put out there. Way more. But I wonder if it's more to what he and they only took bits and pieces. Because you know the media is very good for that. Yeah, Jay-Z did have his white moment when he came out of his mouth and said sexism is worse than racism. I was like, do I want to raise my blood pressure today or nah? Talking about this. Because I know I know he did a video about it because you know he don't like Jay-Z. He can't stand the guy. So any chance that he really gets to talk about him, he takes it. Yeah, I saw with the New Zimbabwean and yeah, that was a Sambo move right there. How are you going to give land to people? All Robert Mugabe was trying to do was take the money back. I mean, take the land back. And you're going to give the land that was taken from them, you're going to give it right back to the thieves. all that's going to do is push the other black people that's there even further out, even faster. Text where he said, "I heard Diddy met with Cap. Is that true?" Yes, yes, they actually did meet up. I don't know what they discussed though, because I saw the picture on Colin Kaepernick's Twitter page. I think it was on his Instagram page, and I think Diddy put it up on his Instagram page, where I guess he was at Diddy's house and they were sitting by the pool and they were talking about something, but I don't know what they talked about. Okay, so I'm hearing mixed things right now. I'm hearing some people saying that he didn't give the land back or he's doing something with the land. Can somebody inform me what he's actually doing? Okay, Tax Force said he's going to pay them money for the land that Mugabe took back. I got it, Water Snap. I got the email, and I just replied back to you. So technically, the white people there are still getting something. They're not getting the land, but they're getting the compensation for basically land loss. So technically, that's not really an L, to be quite honest. Reparations, got it. Yeah, okay. So he's still in the hot seat. But I'm also hearing that it's people over there who live in Zimbabwe, black, Africans who live there, who said that under Mugabe's reign, that he was probably one of the worst things that could have happened to that nation. What is your take on that? So basically, Robert Mugabe was almost like the Fidel Castro of that nation. Because someone said some people hated him, some people liked him. What's going on, Vulcan 2054? Because I remember when Fidel Castro had died, you had mostly the white Cubans that were down in Miami or in Florida, wherever, celebrating him being gone. But you had a lot of the dark skinned Cubans who were mourning him. Another thing I had wanted to talk about that actually I did a video about before even putting it before I even started my live stream was the one about AJ Burgess. If y'all don't know who that is, he is the little boy that I did a video about last month where he was born with no kidneys and how the hospital was not going to do the transplant from his dad to his son because of his probation or something like that. And because of that, they weren't going to do the transplant, even though his dad was a 100% match for his son to get the kidney. But they ended up finding a donor of a person who was deceased, and he got the transplant successfully the day before Thanksgiving. I said they got to watch that one closely. I said they went through all of that when they could have just gave the heart, I mean, not the heart, the kidney from his dad to him. A way to make the dad seem like he was doing something that was so bad. And if that kid and that boy had died, they would have said, "Oh, it's the dad's fault." If he had just not been doing what he was doing, then he would have been able to give him the kidney. But like I said in the video, I definitely give kudos to his parents. He has a loving father and a loving mother because, like, I couldn't even imagine what they had to go through his son's entire life, dealing with all the medical stuff. I've never heard where people were born without kidneys before. I might have, but I don't remember. Because when I was reading the story and it was saying how his mother had to constantly rush him. Yeah, I know Gary Coleman was born without a kidney, but this boy was born without both kidneys. Like he didn't have no kidneys. And I know Emmanuel Lewis was the same way. Yes, yeah, Emmanuel Lewis was friends with Michael Jackson. I didn't know it was possible for you to live without kidneys either. So I am curious how he was staying alive. It must have been he might have had some kind of artificial kidney or something to keep him living, because in the article, they wasn't expecting him to live even a day after he was born. So it's a miracle that he was able to survive 3 years. But like I said, I'm glad that that story actually came out. I have to give a huge shout out to the Radical Home guys, because she was the first person I actually saw talk about this. And I remember when I first heard that story, how mad it made me, because that was so petty. I'm like, y'all willing to let this little boy die because of something that was going on with his dad? At least his dad is trying to help his son, survive and live. But y'all want to, who has the time? But anyway, that's besides the point. The little boy is going to have a chance, hopefully, to live. And like someone else said in the chat, I hope that his body does not reject the organ, because sometimes that does happen. Exactly, Princess La. Even when we try, we still be hated on. Okay, I wanted to talk about this Dame Dash Harvey Weinstein thing. Now, I wish that this would have gotten more traction. So there was this interview that was conducted with Cameron, where he basically came out and said that Dame Dash and Harvey Weinstein constantly got into it on the set of Paid in Full back in the day. Like, they just could not stand each other. They would get in arguments and all types of things. Until one day Dame Dash got into it with him, and it was so heated that he actually put hands on Harvey Weinstein. And it said Harvey Weinstein was making very disrespectful comments about women. And then Dame Dash slapped him. So if we don't, the reason why we probably don't see Dame Dash in movies anymore is probably because of that. I have to give him kudos to that, because I don't know anybody who has put hands on Harvey Weinstein. I'm very sure he's put his hands on a lot of people, if you know what I mean. So I remember someone has in the comments under the video that said, "I wish that Dame Dash could put those same hands on his cousin Stacy and shake the coon about her." I said, "Good luck with that." You said how old is Stacey Dash? I think Stacey is like 50. Okay, Mr. Berry says she's 51. And that's so sad because back then Stacey Dash was probably one of the most baddest women on the planet at one point. But the things that she says and comes out of her mouth. Exactly, Princess Liza says she looks good for her age, but just wish she wasn't a coon. Yeah, when she played in that movie Clueless, she was an adult playing a teenager in high school. I think one of Stacey Dash's parents is, I know one of them is black, and I think the other is Mexican. But like someone like Black Ranger said, she don't even look mixed. She looked like a straight up black woman. And for the most part, it was the black community that was supporting her throughout her career. She's in a lot of debt because that husband of hers or whoever she was with she's trying to, I think, video that I had did about Stacey Dash last year, that was a classic video. I don't think I have it anymore. Otherwise, I would have uploaded it on this channel so y'all could see what I had to say. And Stacey Dash's son almost looks like he could be related to Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin, the basketball player. Oh, I see the one LVZ is in here. I think, is that a new channel? Yeah, Sammy Sosa looks. Well, he said that his journey is now complete. He now is who he wants to be. I guess. But like I said, if you was to see Sammy Sosa walking down the street today, you wouldn't even know who he was. Oh, somebody has said that Stacey Dash's father, or not father, the father of her oldest son is Christopher Williams. I didn't know that. You know the man who was he was in New Jack City, and you know the song "Don't I'm Dreaming." What's up, Antigua? And the thing is, every time you see a picture of Sammy Sosa now, and he's always smiling, I was like, you can't be that happy. You have to be hiding behind some kind of pain right there, because it's just no way that you went and paid all that money to change your appearance the way that you did, and there was nothing wrong with you. Emerald Princess says, "Did you guys know you can reverse skin bleaching?" I'm I've never heard of that. I don't know how much further Sammy Sosa can go with his skin bleaching, so to speak. He'll end up looking like a cloud after a while. And it's like with Sammy Sosa, his thing was like in multiple layers. Like I remember when they first put that picture of him up, I was like, "Who is this guy right here?" They said, "Oh, that's Sammy Sosa." I said, "Sammy, who?" Like the last time I saw him, he was like my complexion, and then when I saw him, he looked like he was like pretty much like Chris Brown's complexion. And next picture when he looked kind of pinkish, with that's why people say he looked like Frankenberry, where he looked pink and he had on pink. I was like, he looked like a bottle of Pepto Bismol. And then the most recent one of him now that I saw. All I have to say is just love yourself. That's all I can say is just love yourself. It's not worth it. There's a lot of stuff that can damage you if you go forward with all that skin bleaching stuff. He was like, I may not look black anymore, but I'm gonna try to stay attached to my blackness. When he said he kept dabbing. I remember it was this movie that came on TV One. I think it was. It might have been earlier this year, and it was a movie that Lisa Ray had produced, where it was called Skin. I think it was called Skin, about this young brown skinned woman who went through like issues when she was in college and was dealing with like self hatred and being teased and whatnot. And then she started putting skin bleaching products onto her skin, and then it eventually started to like take a toll on her physically later on in life. And I remember it was one scene when she was in a restaurant talking to a woman and how she said she was using the skin bleaching products, and then this woman ended up becoming like physically sick. Like stuff started breaking down on her and everything. Like so, it has a lot of negative drawbacks behind it. LVC, so now he just look like a fat white guy with no rhythm. Synthetic melanin. Well, everything I noticed that they've created throughout their lifetime to try to copy somebody else has always had negative drawbacks. So I'm going to be curious as to what this is going to do to their body. Hey y'all, I'm about to get off the live stream. I told you that this one was gonna be kind of shorter than the other ones because I do have to work this evening and I want to get a little bit of rest before I have to go in. But I'm glad that we were able to talk about whatever we was able to talk about on here. Of course, you know I'll be back on here next Sunday, probably around the same time. We'll probably do it in this same format, like I said, for a good portion of the month. Hopefully not the entire month of December. But I'm glad that y'all were able to stay in the chat with me and we could talk about just various topics, of course. And with that being said, I'm going to end the live stream right here and just stay on the lookout for the next videos that I bring to you.